The first ever Victoria's Secret fashion show was an industry-only event held at the Plaza Hotel in New York City in 1995, hosted by Stephanie Seymour. It was a typical, simple fashion show. There was no wings, no $1 million bra, no live performance. But what the company didn't know was that in a few short years, the Victoria's Secret fashion show would become a pillar of broadcast television and make a great marketing case to be studied. Welcome to the Silk Standard, the podcast where style meets substance. I'm Sarah Elizabeth, fashion coordinator and tailor of style. This week we will be discussing the fallen angel that is the Victoria's Secret fashion show. Welcome back. If you're new here, welcome to the podcast. Hope you liked the intro. It was a little dramatic. I have a script this time because this means a lot to me. So if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my phone, which has my script. And if you see me looking over, I'm just making sure I'm in frame. I want to apologize for that. I forgot to buy batteries, the right ones, for my smoke detector. So if you needed to hear that, to make sure that you have the right batteries for your smoke detector, make sure to go do that. But let's get into it. This episode's going to be in two segments. We're going to go over pretty much the rise of the angels and then, of course, the fall. Let's rewind back the clock. It's early 2000s and the Victoria's Secret show is slowly approaching. It's peak branding for the company. And young teenage girls who are so invested in the fantasy are in their Victoria's Secret sleepwear, their robes, their slippers, getting drinks, getting snacks all lined up so that they and their friends can watch the show together. Life as a girl was fun, flirty, and pink. The Victoria's Secret fashion show was peak fantasy with $1 million bras, wings, glitter runways, rock stars, and of course, the supermodels. Every time you heard the name Victoria's Secret, you thought glamour, high femme, bombshell push-up bras, and the iconic pink on pink stripes, or striped silk. The models were tanned, toned, and everything I wanted to be as a young girl. By the late 2010s, people were over the angels. It felt overdone and for some inappropriate. The glamorization of the ultra-toned body was officially taking a toll on many women and their mental health. Watching it be praised across TV screens did a number on not just the viewers, but some of the models themselves. Mind you, the range of women that were watching the Victoria's Secret fashion show were from 18 to 49. That's a really wide range, and especially to keep happy. With the rise of campaigns from different lingerie companies using everyday looking people, it wasn't looking too good for Victoria's Secret. So in 2021, they decided to rebrand, including the everyday woman. And let's just say that rebrand did not go over well at first with people. There were a lot of think pieces on what Victoria's Secret should be, and yet what people said that it should be, they were already criticizing not too long ago. Pick a lane, pick a side, I don't know. You decide with your therapist, not for me. But they spent time and money to gain back good graces of their customers, which to some degree they did. And then they tanked it in 2023 with the Amazon Prime documentary show, The Tour. Now, my problem with that show and last year's is the same thing. Execution. It was, in my humble opinion, poorly executed. The thought, the intent was there, but in fashion, especially in a fashion show, if you do not have proper execution, you shouldn't make it. It shouldn't come out. It should not be viewed to the public if you cannot get the execution correctly, especially with something like the Victoria's Secret fashion show. Victoria's Secret made sure to keep the wings so that they could still have angels, I do believe it was called, they had like a campaign, I do believe it was called My Wings My Way. Give me 1 second. I did a bit of research, and there is this wonderful article from 2024. It was before the fashion show, the 2024 fashion show came out. Um, and they did the rise and fall of Victoria's Secret in the fashion show. It was fashion history. It's a good article. I will link it in. I don't know if I could do it on Spotify, but I know that I can do it on YouTube. So check there. But yes, the My Wings My Way and Icon campaigns, they had some of the OG models like Taylor Hill, Adriana Lima, Candace Swanepoel, alongside the VS Collective ambassadors, were athletes, and women who are aspiring, the everyday woman, if you will. So they kept that. They kept a fantasy of what was destroyed after Carly Kloss left, when she pieced out. Um, things were things were never the same for Victoria's Secret, and rightfully so. But at the same time, they did not learn from their mistake. Because you can watch the Savage X Fenty runway shows and you see that it's different. It's fun, without pandering. And what I think the 2024 specifically, their problem was that they pandered. They wanted us to be in it. You know, they wanted us to drink the Kool-Aid, if you will. They wanted us back so bad. But they ruined the fantasy. If you're going to keep the wings and you're going to make them icons, that in itself is an elevation. That in itself is a fantasy for some. I'm going to start with, oh God, Lord help me. Models, stunning. Absolute perfection. Bella Hadid coming out in the oh my God. The drama that is in those wings, because those are supposed to be wings, even though if that was a robe, I would wear it every day as a villain in a soap opera. I love, and I mean that in the best way possible. Let me start from the beginning. I got distracted. My apologies. We're going to start with the opener, Miss Gigi Hadid. She came out in, to me, a modern, old school Victoria's Secret angel. Giant wings, a beautiful teddy. She was done great with the hair, the makeup, the shoes. I could go on a tangent about the shoes. I loved all the shoes. I don't think there was a one pair of shoes that I didn't like. I may not have liked the styling across all of the shoes, but I've never had a problem. Never never had a problem with the shoes. Those were phenomenal. I loved. One thing I will say is that they had Ashley Graham, who is I think she's categorized as a plus size model. There weren't, in my opinion, many. I'm gonna let the silence hang in the air there. I feel like they were underrepresented. Because that's another thing. It's, again, execution. This is going to feel a little rambly. I apologize in advance. I can be a stickler for details, and I never say it like that. Details. I'm a stickler for details at times, and when it comes to something so big like the Victoria's Secret fashion show, I have high standards for this company, especially since they had so much promo leading up to it. They're like, we're so back, like this is us, like, welcome back to the show, welcome back to the fantasy, welcome back to the icons. And there was still so much was left to be desired. Um, those floors, it looks cheap. It looks cheap. It looks like plastic. It doesn't look like a real floor. And I know that there was plating, and I remember there was trouble. Someone almost got hurt because of the floor. And we're not talking like, who was it? I think it was Giselle, whose heel got stuck in the glitter runway. Light bulb. The seats, the runway. Why are angels lower than the people observing? The one thing that made the fantasy work so well, besides the outrageous wings and whatnot, was the fact that they were high. You were looking up at them. You wanted to be them. You wanted to be a Victoria's Secret angel. This, if you really wanted to, you could have run on the runway. You could have walked. Tyla did her own little walk. I always love when the artists do a little walk. It all started with Rihanna when she did that. Oh my god. But it's, if they're continuing on with the angels, with the fantasy, part of that fantasy is keeping them above ground, above everyone else. Argue with your mama, don't argue with me. The styling, some of these I have issue with. What did they have Adriana Lima in? Because you can do covered arms, covered legs. She has a banging body. That woman has never not had a banging body. Beautiful. Carved. Love. Okay. What do they have her in? And she's not the only one who I felt like that, where I just want it in my face so I can be viscerally angry in front of you all so you guys can see the anger. Okay. I do not know the name of this model. She's stunning though. Absolutely stunning. These wings do not look like they were supposed to be for this look. If I can, I'm going to put pictures of every look that I'm talking about. If I can. If I cannot, I'm so very sorry. I'll be able to do it when I put them into shorts. Something to look forward to. But this look, if it had different wings, these wings don't look like they were meant for this look. You have this feather shirt, what looks like it's over a teddy, and then these iron question mark wings that don't look like they belong with this outfit. But if they took away the feather top, it would probably be better. It's all about intention. It is all about intention. Another thing. The bombshell hair. Bombshell hair. Curls, voluminous, everything slicked back. That's something that I also did not like, is that everything, it felt like everything was slicked back. There were a few models that didn't, but it also didn't feel like Victoria's Secret. That's the whole thing. Honestly, that's my whole problem with the 2024 one. It didn't feel like Victoria's Secret. It felt like a last grab. At a dying empire, the fallen angel trying to keep something alive. And I'm not saying that all of them were bad. There were a lot that I absolutely loved. Gigi Hadid, Bella Hadid, oh, I can't think of her name. Alessandra Ambrosio. I feel like I can never pronounce her name. Wait a fucking minute. What the fuck? Okay. I thought my memory is obviously not what it was, what it once was back in the day. Because I do not remember this like mesh metal skirt thing that they have Alessandra in. I thought it was just the lingerie, those beautiful shoes, and the cool wings. Uh, down a point. Tyra Banks. I did like her outfit, especially as she was one of the OG models for Victoria's Secret back in the 90s. One thing that I will say is that they tried to keep the fun of pink into this Victoria's Secret fashion show, but the execution, I have a real problem with the execution because you can, something that I've learned over my years of being called cute and sexy is that there is a fine line. You can jump rope with that line, and with a brand like Victoria's Secret that has the extension Victoria's Secret pink, you can jump rope with that bitch so easily. I don't understand the problem. I I truly don't get it. I loved Lisa's look. I expected Lisa's look on one of the fucking models. I didn't get that, but I'm glad I got it on her. Adriana Lima, this red number was not my favorite. The slick back hair is pissing me off. A Victoria's Secret angel is va voom. It's glamour. It's cunt. And there are some cunty outfits. There are some looks. But I'm just so disappointed. The tiles on that goddamn runway. I'm like, look, I can't. I'm so angry. I love Taylor Hills. In the with the thong, that whale tail, and the silk pants. I love the pink on pink stripe. I love that shit. And then that makes sense for that. Ooh, might be able to see. Hold on, I gotta turn that down. That makes sense. Those wings make sense for that look. You know, it makes sense. It was Jasmine. Jasmine Tooks did not make sense for hers. Also, what did they wrap around my girl? She also didn't get as much screen time as she should have. She wore one of the fantasy bras. And she came back and she didn't get as much screen time as much as her white counterparts. As you can tell, that has upset me. I need to take a breather. It's so funny because I was so upset when I tried to film this earlier that I stopped, went to the event that I planned on going to, and now I'm back getting upset all over again. I hate the venue. I hate the venue. And is it mean to say that I hate the venue? But it's true. I hate the venue. I would love to forget this look. Candace Swanepoel, stunning, amazing, gorgeous. What are those wings? These weren't the only wings that said Victoria's Secret. There was another pair that literally looked like balloons. They looked like balloons that said Victoria's Secret. I was so upset. I love this the rest of the styling, perfect. Those hoops and the high ponytail, the high slicked back ponytail, shouldn't have happened. Shouldn't have been a thing. Shouldn't have done it. Shouldn't have done it. This look required voluminous hair. If you're going to do a simple wing, if you're going to call those wings, if you're going to do a simple wing, you need voluminous hair. You need proportions. You need to balance it all out. I am angry that Victoria's Secret, a brand that's been doing this shit for as long as they have, didn't think about that. And it's evident in so many different looks. Like it was something. The fantasy of the OGs coming out, I loved. I feel like that was executed well, because they weren't just one after another as like okay, let's get this going. They were sprinkled in, which was really nice. There wasn't enough inclusion in different body type. The performers had better wings than some of the models. Jasmine Tooks did not get nearly enough screen time, in my opinion. The execution of it just felt lazy. It felt lazy. And as someone that loved Victoria's Secret and the Victoria's Secret fashion show so much, to a degree, still has, like, I still have or emulate that je ne sais quoi that Victoria's Secret did have at that time in like the late 2000s, early 2010s, when marketing and branding was at its peak, you know, with the kind of boudoir but still fun, sexy feel. I am disappointed. I hope for better. Who knows if I'll fucking get it? As if it's specifically for me. uh, but it's so sad, especially, you know, when you watch something for so long, you know, you want more. You want more, you know? You you don't just want to accept what they're giving, especially when you know that they know how to do it. One thing that makes a fashion show is, especially as if it's the same company, the same brand, whatever, you go back to the archive and you see what you already did. You see what went wrong, you see what went right, and you go off of, not only do you go off of it, you build off of it. That is your foundation. And if it's a cracky ass foundation, you look at a different year. This isn't their second show, period. This is their second show back after hiatus, after the fall. If they really wanted to do right, if they really wanted to do right by the company, by the viewers, fuck the company. If they wanted to do right by us, they would have looked back over the years. What went well? What did people love? What did people hate? And they could have given us a great show, including the everyday body, including the everyday woman, still giving us that fantasy, giving us the fun flirtiness of Pink, while giving us the sexy seriousness of Victoria's Secret. I want better. I expect better from a company with the funds, with the resources, with the talent, with the history. I hold every brand accountable to the same thing that I'm holding them to. It is not difficult to give your consumers what they ask for. I'm not looking forward to this year. That's enough disappointment for one day. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Silk Standard. If this episode inspired you to yap or to talk about a brand that you love and have been disappointed by, please share. You can share on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Spotify. And make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at the S Exclusive, sans I. And to keep up with me, Sarah Elizabeth, on my website, the S Exclusive, without the I.com. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast. Until next time, keep setting the standard.